Teaching and learning with Mr. Miller. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Teaching and Learning with Mr. Miller. This is going to be the last of the Photoshop tutorials. What we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be doing some finishing touches now and then kicking this out and exporting it as a JPEG so you can upload it for your coursework or whatever you're going to be doing with it. Now the first thing, you might notice that this looks a little bit different than my last one because I've deleted my portrait and I brought this other guy in. Reason for that is two. One, because I want to show you how we can clean up the photographs. That's one of the things we're going to be doing today, and as you can see around the edges it's looking a bit rough. And the second reason is because I accidentally didn't save the other file, so I lost all my progress. You know, even teachers make mistakes. But hey ho, we can still continue. So I guess that leads me on to the next step, which is cleaning this up a little bit, because that looks like a really bad cutout there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to go to our eraser tool. Okay. Now there's lots of different eraser tools. If you click and hold, you can see there's the background eraser tool, which I don't really use. Magic eraser tool, which is quite good if you wanted to get rid of like solid colors. But then there's the eraser tool, just the classic one. I'm going to click on that. It's saying I can't use it because I haven't chosen a layer. I choose a layer and there it is. So as you know, with the squared bracket keys, you can make that bigger. So you've got the U, I, O, P keys on your keyboard. Keep going, you've got the squared brackets. As you can see up there, it's changing that. So I'm going to kind of make it, yeah, I think that big will kind of do. Now the problem we've got this is, that's a really hard cut, and we don't want that. So Command Z there, get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to soften this up a little bit. And where it says hardness 100, let's take that down. Let's go down to like 25% or near enough. Okay. Now what's going to happen is if I use it, you can see it still gets rid of the same section, but it's kind of feathered as it goes. And this can be really handy. In fact, we might want to feather that, so we might want to lower the hardness, make it softer a little bit more. But now what you can do is you can clean up the edges. So if you kind of make it relatively large size area there, and you just go around the outsides, as you can see, it's just feathering that off a little bit more than it already was. Okay, now don't go too crazy, obviously. My recommendation would be go around lightly, have a look at it, and then see what you can do afterwards. Because you might want to keep going backwards and forwards, and some things might need a little bit more. So there we go, so I'm going to go again. Okay, and it kind of just gets rid of it. Now, I'm rushing this, so it doesn't look fantastic, but you can see it already looks better. Now, one of the problems I've got is I've got this here, and that's like a really hard cut. So maybe we can go for one of those, you know, Nicholas Sparks kind of heads floating over a beach kind of effect. So I'll just delete this, and let's kind of go with that. That might work. It looks a bit dreamy. I'm not sure if that's what you're going to want to go for, but hey, if you've screwed up your cropping of your photo, that might work quite nicely. There we go, and I'll just keep feathering it. The larger you make it, the more the size feather you're going to get. There we go, and I can kind of do that. And there we go. And I can just put that there or something like that. Oh, still got the bottom there. That's fine. Just get rid of that a bit more. There you go. Now again, it doesn't look fantastic because I've rushed it, okay? But you can obviously spend a little bit more time on that if you wanted to. Now that might save you, like I said, if you cropped it, because if you've got those hard lines, then you might want to do that. There we go. Right then, so let's look at some other things that we can do. So we haven't really looked at the brush tool, so let's look at the brush tool, which is just there. So you click, hold, you've got pencil, color replacement mixer. I don't really use any of those, but I do use the brush tool quite a lot. And you can see the last brush that I was using. Now you can actually download brush tools. A lot of them are free, which is quite nice. If you click down here, you'll find all of your different options. If you click on the folder next to it, you can see what different brushes you've got. Now some of these are more appropriate than others, but you can kind of see what you want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one here, the Kyle Drag Mixed Grays. I don't know if I've downloaded that one or whether it's one that came with it, but whatever. And you can see that's kind of what it looks like. Now if I do that, it looks like that. That looks all right. Don't really like the black too much. So what I'm going to do, obviously, is I'm going to find out what color I've got here. Let's find the code for it. Let's go over to Adobe Cooler or Adobe Color. Adobe Color. See what we got. Let's get a nice color that's going to kind of complement it. Complementary color, you could say. Okay, let's just dump it in there. Let's see what we get. Could work. Right. Yeah, I like that. I think I like that. Maybe the yellow. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. You know, if it doesn't look good, we can always change it. And there we go. So let's get that brush again. There we go. And now if I go like that, yeah, that looks all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lower that. And this is really good for if you want to include text over it. So you can kind of just do these brushes like that. So I'm just going to click and hold. And I'm going to hold shift to make it go in a straight line as well. See, like it only goes in a straight line if I hold shift while I do it. So I can kind of go, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do it on the actual gradient layer. Oh no, you don't like that, do you? Because you're going to have to rasterize it or something? Yeah, I thought so. Because that way it goes behind him. And if you just do like a quick one like that, there we go. And now I can get other brush tools as well. I can go for, there's a nice splatter one like that. So I can kind of go like that. Maybe just put there. There we go. That looks all right. Subtle, I guess. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some text over it. So I'm going to write text. Make that a lot bigger. Why is that so small? Huh, that's what she said. All right, no idea what's going on there. Let's just try that again. Let's just put it there. We can always do. Oh, right, okay, that's different. Text. That's going to be too big. Right, that'll probably work. And then I can kind of put that there. You can't see it, but you will do when I grab this color. And I'll edit this now. There we go. And I know that those are complementary colors there. There we go. And that kind of fits like that. You know, you read that a little bit more. Kind of gets rid of that negative space there as well. Another option that you can use to put text on there without just putting it straight into a white background. Now, I suppose one of the last things we're going to do now is we're going to look at blending options. Now, that text does look a little bit, I don't know, simple, doesn't it? We can absolutely change that if we needed to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right-click and I'm going to go to blending options. It's going to put my dialog box right over the top, which is really useful, but we can kind of see what sort of things we're going to be doing. Now, one thing that most people do, and I'm guilty of it as well, is we just chuck a drop shadow on it. So if you just click on drop shadow and click on it, you'll see what it's going to do, and it's going to look like that, okay, which actually looks quite good. So it looked like that, and now it looks like that, which is just a nice way of kind of like making it stand out a little bit more, looking a little bit more like a professional's done it. There's other things as well, there's like inner shadow. If you want to make it stand out, I don't think that looks good. You can have inner glow on a yellow, don't know how that's going to work. You could have a stroke, not like that, but as in you can give it an outline. Again, that looks a little bit childish. I quite like the bevel and emboss. I think that usually works quite well. So what you can do is you can kind of like give it a texture, maybe even a contour, and it kind of makes it look like it's been stamped on it. That can work really well if you actually want to make it look like a seal of approval or something like that. But ask yourself, like, do I actually need that? Sometimes less is more. I'm actually just going to chuck a drop shadow on that because I think that looks quite nice. And you can change the options. I don't know if you'd really need to for this, but you can make your drop shadow a different direction if you wanted to. Again, it's not really necessary, is it? So I'm just going to put it at 90 or near enough. And again, you can change all these different things, but I don't think you need to necessarily. Keep in mind that a drop shadow is supposed to make it look like it's raised slightly, as if it's creating a shadow. Do you need to do that? Sometimes you don't. I'll tell you what, actually, for this ellipsis here, maybe I can make that look like a seal of approval. So I can kind of go bevel and emboss with this. Let's have a look. Okay, there we go. Kind of looks a little bit different. Doesn't really do too much though. Don't know if it's really necessary. And anything else? Yeah, I guess we can go for the filter gallery. You can put some different effects on it. So if you choose the layer you want to, like I've got this guy here, maybe I can go to filter. You've got all these different things here, like make blur and sharpen and stuff like that. I don't know if you really need them. Render's quite fun because you've got the lens flare. Like I've used that a few times. If you click on lens flare, you can kind of choose where you want that lens flare to be, and you can kind of if you want to make it look really Nicholas Sparksy, you can kind of go like that. And there you go. And it's kind of like created that, but it looks cheesy, doesn't it? Sometimes it's quite nice to put those things on. More often than not, it's not. So if we go to filter gallery though, so you click on filter at the top, you go to filter gallery, and then you've got loads of stuff. I use these quite a lot because it could be quite just a nice way of just putting something over the entire of it. So, but some of it, does it look good? Well, not always. You might look at it and think like, oh, that looks fun. But is it appropriate? I mean, if you wanted to kind of give it this nice pop art kind of feel, then that might be the way to go. I don't even know if that does anything. If you click on the eye there, it shows you, oh yeah, it has done something, I guess. Brush strokes. Maybe not. What else have we got? Stylized. Oh yeah, glowing edges. Yeah, don't use that. I think I've used mosaic tiles before. Yeah, see, that does quite a nice effect, It's quite fun. But again, is it appropriate? If you're doing some sort of Greek menu, menu for a Greek restaurant, yeah, go for it. It looks great. Oh. What's that do? Oh, yeah, adds a texture. Again, it's great if you want to use it, but you don't need to. But something you can play around with slightly. Graphic pen, I think. Oh, no, it's not graphic pen then. There's something else, which looks quite fun. Yeah. Use at your own risk. I click cancel there, so I'm not going to have any of that. Now that's my poster. Obviously, it's not very good. I've only got one photo in it. I could have another photo of a cityscape or something in the background. I could probably create a logo for whatever this is and put it there. I'll probably have some contact information if this is I don't know, for a nightclub or something, ladies' night or whatever. I could say something like, the hours, booking numbers, voucher codes, whatever. For your posters, whatever you're doing, think about if you've been given a brief, which you probably have. Think about the information that you actually need to include on it, and then you can write it there, and you can do some more things like that. But that's basically it. What I am going to do though is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As, because I'm going to export this as a JPEG. Now I know that sounds weird because I think there is actually something called export there. You can use all these different things, but we're just going to save it as a JPEG. FYI, JPEGs aren't the highest in quality. Things like TIFF for photographs. TIFFs are incredibly large file sizes. If you're going to have a photo printed out and framed on your wall, you're probably going to use something like a TIFF. You've probably heard of PNGs. I guess they're not too bad. Then we're going to use JPEG though. JPEG 2000, by the way, is, in fact, actually JPEG 2000 is actually pretty good, but we never really seem to use it. Let's just go for a JPEG because it's kind of like the way of flattening everything, rasterizing everything, and just packaging it neatly, ready for submission. You literally just click on JPEG, and then you click Save. Thank you. Bye-bye.